Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is gonna be a quick one, and I originally wanted to do my cream foundation, cream contour, cream highlight routine, and then it turned into like my go-to easy makeup routine. This is the kind of makeup I wear when I have meetings, when I wanna look put together, but I'm not about to wear like a cut crease or really any eye makeup except for eyelashes. Really, this is all just cream products. I only used a little bit of powder to set my under eyes. I've kind of been feeling like using less powder is just a little bit more youthful. It makes you look radiant. However, if you do have oily skin and you feel that you need to powder your skin, that's fine. But I'm talking more along the lines of like using powder and cream contour and then powder contour and then cream highlight and then powder highlight. This kind of just simplifies everything. And if you need to set your makeup with like a translucent powder, then you can go ahead and do that. It's still gonna give you that glowy look. I just wanted to show you guys how to do your makeup and do a little less. It's a little bit quicker and it's just glowy. Glowy, 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 go glowy, go glow, 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 glowy. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm gonna do is prime my skin. I'm using the Marc Jacobs primer. Any primer that you have is good. I just like to use one that's a little bit more hydrating. Put it all over your face, under the eyes, forehead. When it comes to like these more liquidy primers, I'm not that picky with which one I use. It's more so these thicker primers that I feel like make a huge difference for me. So then I like to use the Tarte primer. This one is the Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. It's one of my favorites for the under eye. And I know that sounds really weird, but this is just what I've been using lately. So I take like a little bit of it, tiny amount in the back of my nail, not the front. Not this part because that's not sanitary. And then I dab it under my eyes really lightly, because I feel like this really helps with under eye creasing for me. This one really helps fill in any pores. Like for example, a lot of people have the largest pores on the apples of their cheeks. So I put it under my eyes and on the apples of my cheeks. And I don't put this primer anywhere else because it's kind of thick. So I just apply it in those stubborn ass areas. Ooh. Very important step for me when I'm doing like an event or something. I just have to have this under my eyes. And I just put the tiniest amount, and I warm it up on the back of my hand first too, because sometimes when you take it straight out of the container, it's like it needs to be warmed up, worked in. It's a little too like thick. Next I'm gonna do the stick foundation. I like to use the Hourglass stick foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix amber and beige. Amber is a little bit darker than beige, but I like to mix them to get the perfect color for me. So I'm gonna go ahead with amber first and just go in and apply it. See how warm this color is? Super warm. But I like it because it gives me a nice tan. And then I take beige, which is not as warm, and I just put it in the center of all of these ones. You could also put this more in your highlight areas. Boom. So now that we have our foundation laid out, I'm gonna use a Kabuki style brush. This one is by Carity and it's F27. I switch it up all the time between Kabuki brushes, but with this foundation, I feel like I like applying it this way more so than a beauty blender. I don't know why, I just feel like it looks better. So you're gonna wanna start mixing it all together. And the trick with cream foundations, because usually I'm not a fan, I feel like they're slippery sometimes and they settle into fine lines. What the trick is you want to buff this into your skin really well. So you just want to keep buffing and working it in until it's almost just a really nice light layer of cream. So that's why I like to use this brush, because a beauty blender I feel like doesn't really work it into the skin. It's really good at working in like liquidy foundations, but I think with cream it needs something a little bit more dense. When I saw J-Lo, when I met her, still like crazy to say that, but when I saw her skin, I noticed that it was all very like a lot of creams. I didn't really notice like a trace of powder at all on her face. She looked so glowy and dewy, and I think that's kind of why I was like, oh, let me try to do that. I feel like it made her look so youthful and just amazing. Next, I'm gonna use some concealer. I'm gonna be using the NARS Creamy Concealer, and this is in the shade Bisque. Bisque has a little bit more orangey undertones, so it's good for dark circles. It's a little bit closer to my skin color. This look, for me, is a little bit more natural. I don't want it to look like super bright under eyes, but if you still love that bright under eye look, then you could go ahead and use your highlighting concealer. I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. So we're just gonna go right here, and then I try not to put it too close to my lower lash line because like I said, I want the look to look a little bit more natural. If you put too much product underneath the eyes, it's gonna crease more and it's gonna look more obvious that you're wearing a lot of concealer. Then I'm gonna take my beauty blender and just blend that out. I'm still blending the concealer up into my lower lash line, but I'm not putting the product directly onto the lower lash line. That way it's less product, but it still gives you good coverage up there. The only powder I'm going to be using in this tutorial is to set my under eyes, because I did try this makeup look without setting my under eyes, and I found that it's still creased a little bit, so I'm going to use powder for that. But before I do that, I'm going to use the L'Oreal True Match. This is what I've been wearing as my highlight when I do this like cream makeup type of look, and it's so nice. It's in the shade Golden. Just golden. So I put a little bit of that on the back of my hand. A lot of people asked how to apply cream highlights. The trick is I feel like you have to put them on top of creams as well. When you put them on top of powders, they start to get a little bit patchy. So I'm taking it on the back of my beauty blender, and I like to kind of just look and see where the light hits. Okay, right here. And we're just gonna go ahead and start placing it right there and slowly blending it out around the highlight points of your face. Take a little more. This highlight comes in different colors, but the reason I like golden is because it is somewhat of a toned down highlight, so the color itself doesn't look like super white. You know, when you use a really bright highlighter, sometimes it can look very white. So it doesn't look like that. It kind of just melts into the skin and looks close to my skin tone, and under this lighting, it doesn't look as poppin', but when you hit the sunlight, trust me, this highlighter works really, really well. So I put it on the high points, and then of course I put it on the Cupid's bow. And I do that with my finger. So you can continue to layer this on. What I like to do to make sure that it's not super blotchy is like I did, apply it with the beauty blender and then do one light layer that's like a halo, and then you want to add a little bit more on the high points where you want more highlight, and then it's gonna pop only where you want it and blend out really, really nice. The next thing I'm gonna do is slight contour. I'm not gonna apply too much of this. Sometimes I skip this step, and like I said, I use the darker stick foundation as a contour, but I'm just gonna use a and I'm pushing the product upwards. I like to do this after the highlight sometimes because it almost melts everything together, and putting the darker on top of light doesn't make it as ashy as it would the other way around. And I also don't want it to look overly contoured. I want to look sunny. I'm going back with my foundation brush and just lightly patting over the edges of that bronzer. Now, if you need to set your under eyes, which I'm gonna do with a very light amount of powder, I'm not gonna do like any baking or anything, you can go ahead and do that now that you're done with the creams. Also, if you do tend to get really oily around your nose area or anywhere on your face, you could still do creams, but just make sure that you set your makeup. If you find that you have more dry skin or you don't usually need to set your makeup, then you don't have to. I kind of like that overall dewy look that I get towards the end of the day with this, but if you don't, set it and forget it. So I'm just gonna use my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I'm just taking a little bit of that on the back of my beauty blender and pushing it into the skin, very light amount. When you use a damp beauty blender to do this, very slightly damp, it kind of melts the powder into your skin. I find it gives like a little bit more of a natural effect. Whatever's left over, I kind of take down on the sides of my nose because I do get oily there. I don't want to get oily, so just a little powder. Since I'm here, I might as well show you guys what I usually do to finish off my makeup when I do this look. I don't apply any eyeshadow, I just put on my Queen Bees. I like Queen Bees for this kind of look because they're really fluffy, but they still give your eyes a little pow. Park these bitches right here. Woo! Hold please. So just with adding lashes to this look, it still gives you an effortless feel. Also looks like you did a lot of eye makeup, but you didn't. It's my trick. This is the kind of makeup I wear when I'm like, have to go to meetings. Basically my everyday life, this is what I do. The only eye makeup I really have to wear when I add eyelashes is black liner to the waterline up here, because I don't like when you could see skin through the lash band and your eyelid. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take black liner and line it up here. If you're not used to applying eyelashes, I promise you it gets so much easier. It helps me if I look down into a mirror, because when you look down, you could really see where you're putting the lash. It just makes it a little bit easier. Also, if you apply lashes more than once, the same pair, they start to get a lot easier too. So your day-to-day getting ready time becomes a little bit quicker. Uh-oh, this needs a little sharpen. A Sharpie sharp. Toss me that sharpener, please.
This one.
I'm gonna use my favorite liner. This is Maybelline Lasting Drama Waterproof Gel. This stuff is just like the best. It's so dark. It's as black as my little brother's soul over there. Also, if you have more lashes than you might want to apply mascara before your eyelashes, but since mine are so tiny, sometimes it doesn't even matter. So, you know, this is the real deal. This is what I do when I'm trying to do the most, but the bare minimum at the same time. And the last thing I do to this look, this is so easy. This is the only other powder I use, but I love to use the Laura Geller Gilded Honey Highlight and a pencil brush. Pop it into the inner corner of the eyes, and it just makes everything look cohesively glowy. I just want you guys to know that I'm about to head into Target right now. It is currently 9 o'clock p.m. I am fighting the fight against the Christmas tree again. I bought a Christmas tree for the office, and like all my Christmas tree purchases this year, the tree had failed me. The lights don't work. So I'm gonna go back to Target right now with my queen bees and be like, excuse me? I'm gonna be that person that opens the next box at Target, plugs it in, and I need to see it work before I leave that store. Kind of went a little crazy on this side. Let me blend that out. For my lips, I usually just do something nude. Obviously, you guys know this about me. A gloss works for this because, like I said, I like to keep that overall glowy look. I'm gonna apply a lipstick. And then I'm gonna top that off with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Gloss in Gilded. Because this is gonna give us the shine, baby. Alright, so that's it. I hope you guys liked this type of video. I wanted to just show you guys a more simple, toned down, quick, easy look. This is something that I've been doing a lot lately. You don't need a lot of products. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Bye. Shh, shh, shh.
There's no glam shot?
No glam shot. I'm done. This is my glam shot. Let's go.